The Alternative Finance Forum is the first conference organized in Poland and probably in Europe that brings together new forms of finance, which includes fintech, new financial service providers, and alternative social finance. And the objective of the forum is to actually create a platform of discussion and learning to see which way the new forms of financing actually are developing in Europe. The forum has three themes. One is actually talk about the new fintech companies, which are developing new forms of using technology. The second one is social finance. And the third one is actually regulation and policies.
The only issues today which surround the use of this data is the regulatory framework which is available. Is that data accessible to everyone? Are there privacy laws that prevent institutions from using, let's say, your Facebook data or your smartphone data? Because that's where most of the data is generated, and that's the data that these institutions want. So there has to be regulation, and that regulation has to keep pace with what are the requirements of the market. So these are things we will probably see happening in the next year, 2 years, 3 years from now.
Well, we spoke about today about that with respect to gender finance, the VC system and the VC ecosystem is broken, especially in Europe. Worldwide, actually, a lot of measures are taken with respect to gender finance. In the US, you see a lot of programs and funds developing with respect to gender finance, and especially VC funding accelerators. In the developing countries as well, you have a lot of programs for underserved female communities. Europe has none. Europe maybe hasn't seen it as a problem, while if you look to the figures, the percentage of female investors in Europe is really low. It's maybe 3 or 4%. The number of female founders who get funded is very low with seed capital and with VC funding. So there is really an issue.
Okay, I will refer specifically to complementary currency systems because that's my area of expertise. At the moment in Europe, there's an explosion of these schemes. It's something that you see in the last 10 years or so, that they are growing very quickly, being replicated all over Europe. This is a very interesting phenomenon. They do not grow, and that's why people do not necessarily know. They haven't heard that there are 2 or 3 or 4 in their city, but they are being multiplied by different groups, by municipalities, local governments that want to be involved, stimulating environmentally friendly behavior or trying to promote the local economic development in their regions. So it is growing.
The future is always bright. I think we need to always look at the bright side of everything. The only thing which I advise, given my experience, is frankly, we don't know what is going to happen in the next year. We should be prepared to change. We should be prepared to adapt ourselves to the changing environment in the next 2-3 years. That is for certain. We know that things will change. And we also know it will change because of technology. So how adaptive are we is the only thing which I think we need to predict for ourselves.